Hey guys, how's it going? It's good to see y'all. I moved into a new apartment. When I came into my room, it looked like a jail cell because there's bars on my window. I felt like I was in prison. So I decided to swing the bars out and display my artwork to make it look much more aesthetically pleasing place to be. And don't worry, I place the bars back on the window whenever I leave, so don't call my landlord or anything like that. Don't think someone's going to steal me at night. Um, so anyway, I want to talk about expert sensing. Expert sensing is a strong and valued function of the ESTPs, ESFPs, ISFPs, and ISTPs. It's also very misunderstood in the Myers Briggs, and I have to learn not to just fiddle with I fiddle with my hair during these videos and I make a complete mess out of it. So stop, Leon. Um, so it's misunderstood because most people in the Myers Briggs are intuitive types. And they have expert sensing as a weak or undervalued function. And it's not just the NJ types, NI types, but all the other types that are not the ones I listed as being strong and valued in expert sensing, because every type has expert sensing. For the other types, um, because it's in a lower position, it's expressed in a weaker or more negative way. Therefore, what happens is that they project how it manifests in themselves onto dominant extrovert sensors. And that is just messed up. So when it's in a weaker position, it could come off as reckless. It actually becomes reckless and out of control, and people have regrets over their own expression of expert sensing, and they cry about it, and they're like, no, this is not good, and then they go to the ESTPs and ESFPs, and they're like, those people are like that. But actually, ESTPs, ESFPs, when they become unhealthy, that could be the case, but often they have the expert sensing under control. They look like these very powerful dynamos moving around. You can see them like gliding over. It's like they're gliding over everything in the room when they come into your house. Um, but they're under control. Um, like how cats are usually under control, but sometimes they mess up. But they're very agile. Cats are very agile. Cats are expert sensors, and they are. There's just so much resemblance. Anyway, one thing is that it's viewed as impulsive, as I said, and oh, it's so simplistic. It's just about sensory experiences. I go around and I look around, and that's expert sensing. It's stupid. An ant could do that. Um, I don't know how their eyes are actually. Anyway, yeah, but it's more than that. It's about willpower. Um, what people don't know is that expert sensing has a lot to do with goal setting. This is especially noticeable in ESTPs and ISTPs, but ESFPs and ISFPs could show tremendous discipline in overcoming obstacles as well. Um, what people, I don't know why there's that perception like ISFPs are so weak and blah blah. They're the types that have FI dominant. They have these strong passions and they use SC, and that makes them very disciplined in trying to realize those things. They're like me with expert thinking, and we're not very organized about it. So, um, but they have a lot of willpower. These types have willpower, um, and that is very admirable. Um, However, people think, oh, these are ambitious folks who just want to climb the ladder. Sometimes that could be the case for some, but often it's not. Often they do great things. They do heroic things. Often the case, actually, when I meet them in person, a lot of them they actually live ordinary lives. They go out and they just water their garden. They talk about their garden, or um, they play video games all day, or they're just lazy. And you're like, yo, you can see that they have so much potential because they are so powerful. And when there is an issue, they're able to overcome it quickly, like boom. And what other types are like, I'm so wrong. And then, but these types are like, boom, I could take it. And you can tell if you were to put them in a position where they're climbing the social ladder, or they're doing they could do amazing things, but maybe they just don't want to because they just want to have an ordinary life. Um, so that's another thing I noticed. There's also a perception that they are dishonest or they lack humility. Every type is kind of egotistical in their own way. And I think with expert sensing, it's just a more obvious way. Not necessarily that they're more egotistical. It's just they're just straightforward about yeah. But I think other types it's more like other types are pretentious. It looks like other types tend to be egotistical but more subtle ways. They promote themselves in more subtle ways. They try to be better than everyone else in more subtle ways. So I hope this thing doesn't run out of battery. Anyway, okay. Anyway, yeah. So where was I? Okay. Yeah. So these guys kind of just show up the way they are. These ESTPs and ESTPs just show up the way they are. They're not afraid in a way. They act like they don't have anything to hide. If they want to hide something, they just do it. But other types, like it's more of uneasiness or anxiousness that you know other types, like if they don't know something, they cover up. They pretend that they try to cover it up. They it's like they're hiding something. But like with the ESTP, what ESTPs are known for is that they ask questions, and they're not afraid to ask, even if they're gonna look stupid. So a famous example in socionics is from Russia. Is that there's this dude who's in the Russian CIA, and the head of the CIA is very scary, and everyone's scared of him, and they're afraid of asking questions. But this guy is not afraid to ask. This ESTP is not afraid to ask questions. He's willing to ask. Can you repeat yourself again? To this top dude. So they're gutsy. They're not. There's nothing to hide. In a way, they're not pretentious actually. Like they're just not in a way, but they can be braggarts. Um, so, so I'm going to talk about ESTPs from my experience. Uh, back in middle school and high school, I don't know why, but ESTPs, when they're bored, they need an enemy. So I guess they're just bored, and this always happens when I'm in a musical group. I was part of the high school band. I played trombone, and I was also part of a Chinese musical thing, which I played the erhu, which is a two-string instrument that's played with a bamboo stick, and yeah. So these there are just two ESTPs, one in each group, and they were just bored. So they're like, they point at me. They're like, you get to be my enemy. So they start to treat me as an enemy, and they get all competitive and blah blah blah. And before I knew about the Myers Briggs, I figured out their weakness. It's basically F FE is their hidden agenda function. So what that means is that they're afraid of not. Okay, I'm talking about the ESTPs, not the ESFPs. ESTPs are afraid of not being loved. So this, there's big assholes sometimes, but what I did was I started to say, I realized that they didn't like to be loved, so I started to say, hey, I don't like this person, this ESTP, and I made it obvious, and that really freaked them out so much they just stopped like completely. So if there's an ESP just messing around with you, just you know what to do. Um, so I also had good experiences with ESTPs. They could be a lot of fun, especially when they're driving a car. Yeah. So when I said like very powerful but under control, that's what ESTPs are in a car. Um, and ESFPs, like in college, oh, people think, oh, they're so dumb and whatever, but they're leaders. They're very proactive. They're in their activities, and they make a difference. So people think sensing types don't make a difference. Uh, Says the intuiting type, like sitting in chair all day, um, but they're very proactive. They could be very proactive people, um, and they really do great things, and they're great leaders as well. Um, I also one of the most endearing experiences is when I tutored a little ESTP child. She's in fourth. She was in fourth grade, and her teacher was a bitch. So, but she was very like I from that I learned a lot about ESTPs. They have they're thinking types, but they have a lot of them have strong emotional lives because of their tertiary FE. Um, there's something like very giving. They could be very giving, spontaneously giving people. I seen that in her, and she's just in fourth grade. Very talented. Uh, yeah, and just a lot of fun. And she ESTPs do. She does this thing too. ESTPs just do this thing where they just look around the room like that. They every during the tutoring session. But she liked me a lot because I took her out of that classroom to tutor her, and that teacher treated her really bad because she was rebellious. But I understand sometimes ESTPs are rebellious with a purpose, though a lot of times they are not they're just rebellious, but they could be rebellious with a purpose, and that because she treats a lot of people very nicely and kindly. Just with this teacher, she's not going to play by that jerk's rules, if so. Anyway, also the thing about ESTPs is that they're most likely type to make their ideas into reality. So you think intuiting types are, but they are like whatever vision, and they could be visionary too. So they make their ideas into reality. Another thing is one misunderstanding of them in a Myers Briggs is, or if you have a superficial understanding, is that you're not strong at your tertiary inferior functions. In a way, you are. You're stronger than other types in that. It's when in close range. So it's the case. So, for example, when you meet an ISTP or you meet INTP, the more close you get to them, like if you live with them, and that's why I always have an INTP or ISTP roommate. I've been having them for a while. Is that they're very caring. They're more caring than other types, but within that close range. Uh, so same thing with the ESTP and the ESFP is that they have strong close range and eye. I'm doing that hair thing again. Strong close range and eye. So that's why when you meet them, they're kind of steps ahead of everybody. Like in that moment, that's why they're good at card games or different kinds of things. They're very, very good at reading people. It's not just SE. Their NI is actually strong in that regards. They just pick up on a lot of things. They get a lot of things about people. And so, yeah, so that's what I have. That's SE for you.